Trust meteorologist Tim Strong for your first alert. Trust meteorologist Tim Strong for your first alert.
Parker's Kitchen is proud to partner with Wrdw Project to help empower veterans and their families. When you round up at Parker's, we'll make sure to match 25% of your donation to support local veterans.
Live from Augusta with a first alert weather update.
A first alert weather day here to start your week. A strong storm on its way to the CSRA, expected to bring winds and more this afternoon. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. I'm Nick Proto. 6 o'clock here on our Monday morning. We start things off with weather right now as Tim is tracking that first alert weather day.
Yeah, you can see those storms were already still packing a punch across some of the Gulf region at this point, just off to the west. Now, still have a while before that line gets here, but we're looking at the potential for strong damaging winds, hail, isolated tornadoes, all in play as we look at the severe weather outlook here. Level 3 out of 5 covers a lot of the state of South Carolina and Georgia and all of the CSRA. So we're going to be tracking that line as we get through the afternoon coming up in just a little bit. 6:01 our time.
All right, thanks, Tim. And remember to have our First Alert weather app downloaded to stay up to date on all weather alerts you need to know today to stay safe. You can scan the code on your screen there. Just use your phone app. It'll take you to the App Store so you can download it. And make sure you have push notifications on to get the latest updates. You can customize them, too, so you only get ones for your specific area. So far this morning, we haven't heard from any local school districts on changes to the schedule today, but USC Aiken and Aiken County schools have acknowledged the threat coming and have told students and parents an update will be provided if conditions change. So we'll bring you the latest updates on school closures on our website, wrdw.com. Your Taylor Martin joins us live now in the studio this morning on how you can prepare to keep you and your family safe from these storms. Taylor?
Well, when rain picks up in the CSRA today, there could be flood-prone areas you may want to look out for. Now, one being here on William Few Parkway in Columbia County. Now, this is video, it was taken before Hurricane Helene reached us, but aside from flood-prone areas, there are other things you may want to keep in mind to protect yourself and your home. It's important to, of course, prepare ahead. Officials recommend signing up for alerts from the city or the county and listening to the forecast. Now, if you live in an area where there are drains or stormwater systems, it's important to make sure the water has a place to flow. And another way to keep you and your home safe is sandbags. The best place to put them is outside against your door where water would likely enter. Wrapping them in plastic may also help. With the possibility of flooding, moving important items and furniture to higher levels is helpful too, and if that's an option for you. Now, it's also important to subscribe to outage alerts for your electricity provider in case there is a power outage in your area. And of course, you download the First Alert weather app, like we said, and keep with us on air and online for updates throughout the day.
Absolutely, and you mentioned flooding there. That may not be the biggest concern with this storm, but some of those flood-prone areas, no matter how much rain they get, we'll see it. But of course, have a safe space too. Make sure your phone's fully charged. You got enough food and medicine just in case we lose power or something like that too. So Taylor, a lot of good advice there for that. Thanks for joining us this morning. And with these storms today, there is a possibility of those tornadoes. Augusta Fire Department released this information on what to do in the event of a tornado. It gives a general list of good places and bad places to be. A project to reduce the headache of traffic now underway in Aiken. Officials breaking ground Friday for the Powder House Connector project to help make traffic on Whiskey Road more manageable. Right now, some people in Aiken County say they avoid Whiskey Road altogether, but they're also worried what this project could bring to the area.
They're looking at a hotel, they're looking at somewhere upwards of 500 plus homes. And where are those people going to go? They're going to shop on Whiskey. And so we're going to put more traffic on here. So I don't know where the reduction will come from.
The city says they want to hear from you on any issues you may have. A public input meeting for Phase 2 will be on Thursday from 5 to 7 at the Odell Weeks Activity Center. Construction for the first phase starts April 14th. The first phase will take a little more than a year to complete, with the second phase expected to take that same amount of time. 6:04 now. A recent case is moving organizations to highlight domestic violence. Just last week, a North Augusta couple was found dead inside a home. Aiken County suspects it was a murder-suicide. While we wait for another update on those circumstances, local groups want to show others the warning signs of abuse and how to recognize them. This can bring an intervention before it's too late. The Cumbie Center in Aiken says some red flags include a pattern of abuse, weapons present, or threats involving weapons. Safe Homes Augusta also told us it's 500% more likely for a victim to die if there is a gun in the home.
Usually that can result to the murder-suicide. And with that, I think the abuser's thinking, well, if I can't have you, no one can. And so then they kill themselves or kill their partner and then themselves.
Safe Homes and the Cumbie Center say you can reach out to them for support. They have 24-hour hotlines you can call. And if you or someone you know is in danger, reach out to the National Domestic Violence Hotline, too. That's 1-800-799-7233. An Augusta man charged with rape after meeting a 17-year-old on a night out. The Richmond County Sheriff's Office arresting 32-year-old Sang Han. Deputies say they met the victim at Soleil Saturday, where Han allegedly bought the victim an alcoholic drink. The victim tells deputies she began to feel nauseous while dancing with him. Reports say he took the victim to Sage Creek Apartments, where he lives, and that is where he raped her. The victim's friends told deputies the victim told Han she was 17 before he bought her the drinks. Han faces 1 count of rape. The Richmond County Sheriff's Office is looking for these 2 suspects in an attempted armed robbery. Deputies responded to Wheeler Road Saturday. They learned 2 suspects walked up to the victim and demanded he gives them his chain while showing guns. The victim refused and ran. The suspects chased after the victim, shooting at him. There were no injuries. Deputies say the suspects are known to hang around the Spicewood Drive area and should be considered armed and dangerous. Anyone with information should call the number there on your screen. A 25-year-old man is charged with cruelty to children in connection to his son's death. Deputies say November 9th, 25-year-old Maurice Sturgis found his son unresponsive when he woke up in their home on Margaret Court. He told deputies he went to sleep on the couch next to his son. When he woke up, Sturgis says his son was stiff and not breathing. He said he began to perform CPR. Now he's facing charges of cruelty to children in the 2nd degree. We're working to learn more about that child's death. A Hapsburg man sentenced to life without the possibility of parole after being found guilty of a 2020 shooting. A jury found 43-year-old Robert DeBose guilty of malice murder, felony murder, and more. This is in relation to a shooting in December of 2020 where 26-year-old Ramon Bryant was shot driving his car at North Lake Road and Wrightsboro Road. In addition to the sentence of life without parole, DeBose was sentenced to 15 years for weapons charges. April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and this year AU is working to educate people how they can prevent sexual violence. One of those ways is through the Clothesline Project, a display of t-shirts with messages and drawings by sexual assault survivors or allies of sexual violence prevention.
And so this signifies, like, nationally April is being recognized, but then you look for the white shirts nationally and you see that and and they're not always white, but you look for these clothesline shirts and know, like, nationally this is an issue, and bringing awareness to that issue is what we do all year long.
Leaders say AU has resources 24/7 for victims, and they are free. To reach out, you can call 1-800-656-4673. A new middle school coming to North Augusta. Fox Creek Middle School will be right next door to the high school when it opens its doors. Parents say they're excited for another option for their kids outside of the public school system.
They need a place that has their best interest at heart and really understands what middle schoolers need. So I think that's what's going to make a total difference with this school, is that middle schoolers are going to be met where they are, and they're going to have everything they need to thrive.
The 57,000 square foot school will hold 600 students with a gym, a unique common space, art and band rooms, and more. Officials at the school say the middle school will employ about 50 people and serve grades 6 through 8. You can learn more about the new school on our website, wrdw.com.
Well, we're tracking what's going to be strong and severe storms. A first alert weather day in play this afternoon and this evening. We'll talk about a little bit more what we can expect when we come back.
A new way for pet owners to be reunited with lost pets is getting a positive reaction from its community. We're going to show you what leaders want to do coming up. But first, we're giving you a live look outside here at Grovetown. A foggy start out there in some areas, as you can see. It's 6:09. We'll be right back.
Hurry in.
The warmest 7-day outlooks we've had so far this season, Nick.
All right, thanks, Tim. We want to remind you again to download our First Alert weather app to stay up to date on all the weather alerts you need to know today to stay safe. Scan the code right there on your screen to download the free app, and you can turn on push notifications to your specific area to get the latest updates on things that matter to you. Well, if you've been to Savannah River Brewery in the last couple months, you may have noticed some additions to the outside of the building. That is the brewery's new kitchen, which they are looking to open up soon. I went over there to see what they're going to have to offer.
So the menu is still under in the works a little bit. We know there's going to be a great smash burger. There's going to be a brat. Chris has spent a lot of time in Southeast Asia, so a lot of those flavors are going to be on his menu. One of his signature items is going to be a buttered chicken burrito.
And I did get the chance to try that burger that he was talking about, and some ghost pepper chips with some basil chimichurri. Fantastic. He says the hope is to have the kitchen up and running in the next few weeks. A new tap room open right now, right here in Augusta, after holding its grand opening over the weekend. Ready Player One is a bar with live music and arcade games right on Broad Street. The business is also pet friendly. North Myrtle Beach is working to help reunite pet owners with lost animals quicker than before. With a new chip scanner station now in operation, it can connect someone to a pet owner instead of sending them to a shelter. Stephen Schlink has more.
This could be instrumental in helping them return some of these animals to their rightful owners.
Celebrating the small victories after Horry County got its first pet chip scanner installed in North Myrtle Beach. Kate Wilkins lives near Loris and says she hopes to see one come to that part of the county as well. She says people find lost pets there all the time, and this would be an easy way to reunite that pet with their owner.
Anytime we find one of these animals, it would help to at least scan over these pets and see if we can find their owner.
The scanner is easy to use. You just bring your furry friend that you've now found to the chip scanning station, and then in the box right here you find the scanner. You press this red button, scan the back of the animal, and if that animal has a chip, that number pops up right here on the screen. But what happens if you find an animal that's not chipped? Well, this sign right here also has instructions of what you should do next if the animal isn't chipped. Megan Pittman is the marketing manager for the Humane Society of North Myrtle Beach. She says devices like these really do make a difference.
Potentially prevents animals from ending up in a shelter and being able to reunite them a lot sooner with their owners.
She says they hope to bring more stations like this to other parts of the county so more people have access to getting pets help.
To be able to have more of them is just going to be great for the county in the long run.
Wilkins says she already has some ideas of where a scanner could go in Loris, and says others she's spoken with online also think it could be a good idea. Plus, she says she's willing to chip in on the funding.
I would be willing to sponsor a portion of the payments needed to fund this.
All right, well, let's just keep it on the top.
Master your car buying experience at masterbuickgmc.com.
Insurance companies across our area are now using drones to inspect roofs without your knowledge, and many are canceling homeowner policies based on roof condition. Hey guys, it's Anna Christina here for Roof Savers. If your roof is showing signs of aging with black streaks, algae, moss, or missing shingles, it could cost you more than you think. Don't take the risk of losing your insurance. Let Roof Savers help.
Our 3-step process extends the life of the asphalt shingles on your roof by 17 years with just one application.
First, we can clean your roof, removing dirt, algae, and those unsightly black streaks. Then we perform a roof tune-up, replacing missing shingles and fixing nail pop-ups.
Finally, we apply Renew at 17, giving an additional 17 years of life to your existing asphalt shingles.
Don't risk getting a cancellation letter from your insurance company. Call the number on the screen now to see if your roof qualifies. Roof Savers. Save your roof, save your money.
Our first alert commitment to you is the power of 5 meteorologists. All the tools, the latest technology, and the first team of 5 meteorologists. News 12's First Alert Weather on your side.
Thank you for watching News 12 on your side.
.623. Well, let's make it 624 here.
It's something that affects us all every day, from sunny to severe and anything in between. This is why we First Alert.
Live from Augusta with a First Alert Weather Update.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us. I'm Nick Proto. 6:30 here on our Monday morning. We start things off with a First Alert Weather Day. Tim's been tracking some storms for us and tells us about the threat we could see later on.
Yeah, we're going to get to that look in a minute here, but yes, that First Alert Weather Day going through, mainly affecting our area in the afternoon hours. We start getting closer into 2 p.m. all the way to maybe 6, 7 o'clock this evening for the potential of strong damaging winds, hail, and isolated tornadoes. I want to take you out and show you the radar image that's been active for the entire entire morning since late last night. Severe storms stretch all the way from northeast Mississippi down into southeast Louisiana. And this line of storms has been severe for the last several hours. In fact, we kind of just looked at a few of them just to the north of Baton Rouge. Now, some of those tagged as destructive tornadoes here, potentially across southeast Louisiana. So very dangerous line of storms that will be headed east as we head through the afternoon hours. So that first alert weather day stretching all the way across a lot of the Carolinas and Georgia. This is the severe weather outlook here from the Storm Prediction Center. It's remained the same as yesterday, the enhanced level 3 out of 5 risk as we start getting into those afternoon hours here. It's quiet right now, but it's hard to see outside. Keep in mind, dense fog all across the viewing area. Visibility less than maybe a half mile in some locations. That's Grovetown. That's been like that for the last 2 hours here. 60s continue to be our temperature range, but less than a mile visibility up around the hill at Daniel Field. Between Augusta and Columbia, that I-20 stretch is going to be a little bit hazardous, so please be careful. Also, Highway 25 between Millen and Augusta, also a dangerous spot out there with some dense fog. Temp-wise, we'll jump up in the 70s, possibly an isolated 80-degree mark here, so big warm-up, and we're going to see some really warm temperatures for the entire week. 6:32 our time.
All right, thanks, Tim. And remember to download our First Alert weather app to stay up to date on all weather alerts you need to know today to stay safe. You can scan the code there on your screen to download our free app, and make sure you have push notifications on so you can get the latest updates. So far this morning, we haven't heard from any local school districts on changes to today's schedule, but USC Aiken and Aiken County schools have acknowledged the threat and have told students and parents an update will be provided if conditions change. We'll bring you the latest updates on school closures on our website, wrdw.com. But now your Taylor Martin joins us live in the studio this morning on how you can keep prepared and keep you and your family safe from these storms. Taylor?
Well, when rain picks up in the CSRA today, there are a few flood-prone areas you may want to look out for. One being here on William Few Parkway in Columbia County. This video was taken before Hurricane Helene reached us. But aside from flood-prone areas, there are other things you may want to keep in mind to protect yourself and your home. It's important, of course, to prepare ahead, and officials recommend signing up for weather alerts from the city or county and listening to the forecast. And if you live in an area where there are storm drains or stormwater systems, it's also important to make sure the water has a place to flow. Now, another way to keep you and your home safe is sandbags. The best place to put those is outside your door, against the door where water would likely enter, and wrapping them in plastic may also help. Now, with the possibility of flooding in those flood-prone areas, moving important items and furniture to higher levels is helpful too if that's an option for you. Now, it's also important to subscribe to outage alerts for your electricity provider in case there is a power outage in your area, making sure you're keeping your phone charged, and of course downloading the First Alert weather app and keeping up with us online and on air for updates throughout the day.
Okay, thanks for that, Taylor. We know flooding may not be the main concern with this storm, but it is always a huge concern for some people who live in those low-lying flood-prone areas. And of course, for everybody, as the wind picks up, having your safe space in your home, you can go away from any windows or the outside of the homes. Taylor Martin, live in our studio this morning. Thanks, Taylor. A project to reduce the headache of traffic is now underway in Aiken. Officials broke ground Friday for the Powder House Connector project to help make traffic on Whiskey Road more manageable. Right now, some people in Aiken County say they avoid Whiskey Road altogether, but they're also worried about what this project could bring to the area.
They're looking at a hotel, they're looking at somewhere upwards of 500 plus homes. And where are those people going to go? They're going to shop on Whiskey. And so we're going to put more traffic on here. So I don't know where the reduction will come from.
But the city says they want to hear from you on any issues you may have. A public input meeting for Phase 2 is being held Thursday from 5 to 7 at the Wrdw Weeks Activity Center. Construction for the first phase starts April 14th. That first phase will take a little more than a year to finish, with the second phase expected to take that same amount of time. 6:35 now. An apparent murder-suicide shocked a North Augusta community when a 71-year-old man allegedly killed his 67-year-old girlfriend before taking his own life. When the circumstances of this case are still unclear, local groups are working to teach people the warning signs in relationships that could lead to abuse. The Cumbie Center in Aiken says recognizing the early signs of domestic violence, abuse, sexual assault, even a murder-suicide could be critical. Those include a pattern of physical abuse, the presence of weapons in the home, or threats involving weapons. Safe Homes Augusta says it's 500% more likely for a victim to die if there's a gun at home. And when that happens, those groups are left wondering what they could have done.
I always think, what can we do different? Is it a lack of training? Do we need to be out in our community, talking more about this and what those warning signs look like? Do people really need to, do they understand that resources are available for them?
Both Safe Homes and the Cumbie Center say you can reach out to them for help. They have 24-hour hotlines you can call. We'll have the numbers pull up on your screen here in a second. And if you or someone you know is in danger, you can also reach out to the National Domestic Violence Hotline. That number on your screen, too. Two North Augusta men facing charges of sexual exploitation of a minor in two separate cases. The first is 39-year-old Brandon Brown, who's charged with first-degree sexual exploitation of a minor. SLED arrested Brown after being asked to investigate by the Edgefield County Sheriff's Office. The other is Justin Boone. Boone was arrested by the Aiken County Sheriff's Office and charged with 5 counts of sexual exploitation of a minor in the second degree. Deputies say Boone sent 5 different sexually explicit videos, including a minor, on Messenger. An 18-year-old daycare worker charged with cruelty to children after allegedly dragging a 4-year-old child across the floor. Grovetown police say in a video from the World of Hope daycare, they saw Jayla Roberts dragging a child by the wrist before picking the child up by both wrists. Authorities say they spoke with the parent, who was told by the assistant director the child's arm was hurting. Police say the parent took the child to the doctor, where they found the child had an injury. Roberts was fired and faces a charge of cruelty to children in the first degree. South Carolina will once again be front and center before the U.S. Supreme Court. This week, justices will hear arguments in a case challenging the state's efforts to defund Planned Parenthood for non-abortion services. South Carolina State House reporter Mary Green has the details.
This case started with an executive order Governor Henry McMaster issued in 2018, sparking a years-long legal battle that'll soon be before the U.S. Supreme Court. The governor's 2018 order prohibited Planned Parenthood from participating in the state's Medicaid program for services besides abortions, which federal law already bars from being funded through Medicaid.
This case is not about abortion. Excluding Planned Parenthood from Medicaid means that patients can't see their trusted provider for birth control, STI testing and treatment, annual exams, cancer screenings, and more.
The question that'll be before the court is whether Medicaid recipients can sue, as one did in this case, to select the qualified provider they want.
Taxpayer dollars shouldn't be used to fund facilities that choose to profit off abortion. And South Carolina is free to use its limited funding to subsidize life-affirming health care.
But Planned Parenthood says its clinics are sometimes the only option for South Carolinians seeking reproductive health care, especially those with lower incomes.
Many providers across the state either do not accept Medicaid patients or strictly limit the number of Medicaid patients that they accept. This case will ultimately affect people who already struggle to afford basic health care in places where it's already hard to get.
McMaster claims money that goes to Planned Parenthood will end up paying for abortions, so state dollars shouldn't fund the organization.
Plenty of good organizations that provide maternal health, advice, counsel, and care, and we need more of those. We need those kind of counselors. But I'm confident from over the years that people of the state do not want their tax money going to corporations.
On call with reporters Friday, Planned Parenthood South Atlantic explained that Medicaid reimburses them for providing specific services, which by law cannot include abortions.
Medicaid, as a general rule, reimburses far less than other insurance providers, which means that often the money we get back for the service we have provided doesn't even cover that service. There is no way that it is then going on to support other services like abortion.
Oral arguments in this case will be heard next week, Wednesday, before the U.S. Supreme Court. Reporting from the State House, I'm Mary Green.
Lower courts have sided with Planned Parenthood in this case, allowing its clinics in Columbia and Charleston to keep accepting Medicaid patients. But other states have faced similar challenges, and federal appeals courts are split on the issue, which attorneys representing the state of South Carolina say needs to be settled. The Social Justice Committee for Aiken worked
85, 90-degree highs Wednesday to Saturday, lows in the morning in the 60s, and we'll see our next chance for rain come in by Sunday at 83, 648.
All right, thanks, Tim. Concerns are growing around access to contraceptives in Georgia. A group of female Republicans says they're getting calls and they're ready to set the record straight. State House reporter Abby Casoras has more.
Nearing the end of session, new legislation is harder and harder to come across. A quick check of the bill hopper, and we saw this bill, just one page with a straightforward purpose. Females have the right to the use of any means of contraception.
It has been portrayed by some that Republicans might want to restrict access to contraceptives, and the bill makes it very clear that that is not the case.
Speaker Pro Tem Jan Jones, one of the bill's handful of female Republican sponsors. The bill dropped right after lawmakers heard about a bill establishing personhood at conception. If made law, abortion would be considered murder, and contraception, like IUDs, could be outlawed.
I don't think everyone understands the significance that contraception brought to our country. The ability to go to school, the ability to finish school, the ability to plan your families accordingly.
After the overturn of Roe v. Wade, Georgia-born Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas penned an opinion. The court should reconsider other opinions, including the decision for married people to buy contraceptives. Democrat State Representative and doctor Michelle Au says she's happy to see her Republican colleagues sharing her concerns.
I think it shows the way that the legal environment in this country has really shifted so far to the right that we are talking about protecting rights that we had long assumed were inherent.
The Speaker of the House sympathetic to the cause. The House passing a bill to codify IVF and says he supports the females in his party.
And they educate folks like myself on all the options that are necessary for them to have a fulfilling life.
We're still waiting to see if this bill could pass this year. It faces some pretty tough odds. Speaker Pro Tem Jan Jones suggests they could tack it on to another bill. The deadline for legislation to pass is next Friday. There are a few committee meetings before then and even fewer opportunities to vote. In Atlanta, I'm Abby Casoras.
I'm Tony DeCopel coming